Giving all praise, honor, glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rachapadash, the honors to your apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to the Akim that's out there pushing the sincerity and the truth and the sound doctrine. Um, this is a real quick video. Doing this video off of another video by the Hodge twins. Some of their videos pop up for me from time to time. You see what's going on in the video playing. So this is how it all started, and this is going to be the point of the video, with agreeing with your adversaries quickly. It's always Jake, and this is what we push, man. If you're ever getting pulled over, man, just follow directions. You don't. Number one, they made a good point. These two made a good point. Jake does this on purpose, right? To get some money, because Jake is just greedy, right? But second of all, outside of the situation, when it comes with money, you see they ordered him to step out of the vehicle, and he goes and slams the door shut, and then that's when it escalates to what you saw at the beginning of the video, right? To avoid all of that madness, man, and that's it for that. To avoid all of that madness, just follow simple directions. Sure, you saw the cop punch him and stuff like that, but it's because, number one, you got some of these cops that do have power trips, but you just can't help that. We ran into one not too long ago, right? But to minimize that, some follow directions, because they want a reason, man. At the same time, you're giving them a reason, and maybe some of them don't want a reason, but they're getting tired of it, right? They're getting tired of Jake. When police pull over Jake, they already know it's probably going to be some stuff, man. And it's always Jake, but we push to agree with your adversaries quickly. All right. What does that mean by that? Well, I'm going to get that in a couple different translations here, right? A living dog is better than a dead lion, man. So it's always best to just cooperate, man. Just cooperate. I can't tell you how many times, how many situations we got out of just by simply cooperating, man. Just by simply just following simple directions. Okay, yeah, no problem here. And it's resolved. Nobody's going home all injured, punched, thrown down, windows bashed out. None of that stuff. You can avoid so much by just saying, you know what, man, let me just humble myself down. If there's a problem, I'll report it. I'll report it to the higher ups, right? If I really feel like that, to avoid all this conflict, if they want to see my license, registration, go ahead. Show them the registration, show them your license, whatever. If there's a problem, again, report it. Report it to the higher ups, man. There's a reason why they got supervisors and stuff like that. Just report it. Whether anything gets done about it or not, it's up to the Lord, man. All right. Matthew chapter 5, verse 25. It says, agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and now be cast into prison. You can avoid all of that if you just comply, man. Just cooperate. All right. So I got this in a couple different translations here. Right. In fact, before I go to the other translations, let's get Matthew 10 and 16. Okay. This book of Matthew, chapter 10 verse 16. Right. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. That's what we are. We're sheep in the midst of wolves. Okay. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Right? So, like I said, now on, that's a very self-explanatory scripture. I don't have to break that down. He sends you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be harmless, wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Right. Amen. Being smart about it, complying. But like I said, if you got a problem, go behind the cop back and report it, man. Get his ass fired, man. Right? Get him to get the badge number, take it to court if you got to, press charges, get a, what I mean? It's so many ways you can avoid all of what you just now saw in that video, right? It's not worth it. It's really not. Having your windows bashed out, having you being dragged out of the car, it's so too much hassle. And again, man, sometimes, man, a lot of times now I be feeling sorry for these cops, man. They give simple Simple directions. Step out of the car. No, you go slam the door. And then what you do is you stand there, you got the video recording. You know, that's what Jake do, man. You know, they even do that with us out on the hedges, man. They try to provoke, and then when you finally retaliate, you looked at as the bad person. See them Hebrew Israelites. So when the police gets tired of the shit, pretty much, uh, um, you know, you got the camera there. I ain't doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. You know, even though you slammed the door, and now you're going against. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You slammed the door after they ordered. They gave you an order to step out of the car. You go slam the door and act like you ain't doing nothing wrong. And then they did say in the video, if we're going to bash out the windows. If you don't open the door, we're going to you know, hit your windows out. And that's what they did. The punching, I don't know. For whatever. Jake deserves whatever they get. So really, I kind of think he deserves it, man. I ain't gonna lie. Right? And he just sit there. I hear my hand. Show me your hand. Oh, I'm here. I ain't doing nothing. You know? So it's wild, man. So Matthew 5:25 and a couple other translations. Settle matters quickly with your adversaries who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way. Or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison, right? So settle it, you know, hey, you know what I gotta do. You give me direction, all right, I'm gonna do it. Go ahead, you know, whatever. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you're on the way with him to court. Or while you're going with him to court. It says, lest your accuser hand you over to the judge and the judge to the guard, and you be put in prison, right? So that's a very from there, again, it's very self-explanatory. Come to good, this is a good one. Come to good terms with your accuser quickly, okay? While you are with him on the way to court, so that your accuser will not hand you over to the judge. It's called using guile, okay? But other than that, like I said, it's just following simple directions, man. You know, the cop tells you to do something that's just simple. Why would you go and slam the door, man? Like, you know, like I said, man, Jake is irritating. You know, like I said, when a cop pulls over a so-called black person, right? It's they in their mind they already know that there's going to be something. When you're dealing with so-called black people, it's going to be something, you know, because that unfortunately that's the curse that we're under. You know, we can't follow simple directions. I mean, you know, we have laws in the Bible that we're not even following. So, I mean, we damn sure ain't gonna follow Esau's stuff, right? But like I said, it's just a simple, you know, simple direction. You can't even make peace with Jake. You know what I mean? If you have a run-in with Jake and you try to come back and you try to make peace with him, you can't do it. You know what I mean? You can't do it. You can't even make peace with some Jake, man. It's sad, but it's the harsh reality, right? So cop tells him to get out of the car and he slams the door. I've seen some comments on there that say, yeah, he kind of deserved that. You know, is it legal for him to be punched in the face like that? Whatever is whatever. But I kind of laughed at it, honestly. I think he deserved it, right? Windows being bashed out, yeah, he most definitely deserved that. They even warned him about that, you know. And then he sits there. I ain't doing nothing. I didn't do anything. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything. What you did is caught on camera, you know. So, are those cops gonna be charged for what they did? Not really. You know, not really. Because you should have listened to simple directions, right? Jake is irritating. Jake is a nuisance, right? And I don't blame. I do not blame the police for doing what they're doing to Jake at this point. It is what it is, and this is all of the Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. This is Jeremiah 11:14. Do not pray for these people. So when Jake start getting laid out by the police, good for you, man. Good riddance. One less nigga I gotta worry about, or another brother or sister gotta worry about. Anyway, giving all praise on the glory to Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. That's all I got on this. Shalom.